life practice community.
All right, so here we are. Let's start our practice today on our back, and we're gonna grab hold of our bolster and our block. So you can use a pillow and just like some books. Make a little ramp for yourself. So we're gonna start with a little bit of heart opening, head of the heart. Well, I have good news for anyone that was in my yin class yesterday. I was worried that my Kindle was broken. So we're gonna lay our bodies down on this ramp and then press our feet together and let our knees knock wide. So I was quite worried that my Kindle was broken because it had just lines across it, and my Kindle is where I keep all or many of my yoga lesson plans, and I use it especially for yin. Anyway, I Googled broken Kindle today, and it turns out I just needed to like turn it on and off again. Sometimes things that feel overly complicated are really much more simple than we make them out to be. So anyway, I was just mentioning that because that's where I get a lot of my yin lesson plans, but I realized since we're going off book, we're doing the head and the heart, might not even use it. That's okay too. So laying your body back on this ramp. Let your whole body just be heavy and your eyelids heavy and come to a close. Take deep breaths in and out. And as you take these deep breaths in and out, can you just kind of arrive in this moment? Almost like consciously switching from this active and this go, 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 and this thinking mind, this busy brain that you have. And just kind of arrive in the here and now. And decide what you need out of this hour. And for me, it is to move from my head to my heart. To move from all of my thinking to a bit of feeling. And if you need something different from this hour-long practice, just identify it now. We'll stay resting in this heart opening pose for just a few more breaths. And then just bring your body to roll to one side. Just rolling off of that ramp, sliding the cushion and the weights to the side. Bringing your body back down, and we're going to use our block actually. So keeping one block handy, I'm just going to tie up my hair so you can sort of see what I'm doing. So I've learned this from Jill, who's another yin teacher for the MLPC. And basically you're just going to place this block underneath the occipital ridge and roll from side to side. So the occipital ridge, it's like the very bottom of your skull. And see if you can just rock from side to side and just release whatever tension is back there. And you might find that you just hit sweet spots where you want to stay and just stay. And then we'll just be here for like a couple more breaths. And come all the way just up to seated. So we're going to practice a pose that I have not practiced in forever, but with the thought of stretching through the head, I thought this sounded nice. So different from child's pose where we're on our forehead, we're going to practice a pose called rabbit pose. And what you're going to do for rabbit pose is you are going to come to the top of your head and then just kind of see how it feels to stretch through the back of the neck. So you're on the crown of the head instead of the forehead. We're not going to be here forever. And see how that feels. And if it does not feel great for you, feel free to just come into a version of child's pose. But basically you're just rolling and stretching through the back of the neck. So we'll just stay up on the top of the head for just a few more breaths. And then you can untuck the toes and just lower back into a child's pose now. Maybe sweeping the arms alongside the body instead of up above. See how that feels. And then just gently roll all the way back up to seated. All right, so come to either be on your tucked toes or just flat on your feet. And so we're going to take a stretch for the neck while being on the tucked toes. And if it's too much, feel free to let it go. We're going to do 2 minutes on either side. You can drop your earlobe and maybe lift your palm. And then let's just lift up and untuck the toes. And we're just going to massage them out. And then for the second side, if you want to be on the tucked toes again, go ahead. Or if it's too much for me, I just don't feel like it today, so I'm just going to be flat on the feet. You can also just do that as well. And so we'll do this side for 2 minutes. So drop your left earlobe, land your left palm on the side of the skull, stretching through the neck. And let's lift the head all the way up. And then it might feel nice to drop your chin to your chest and then just rock from side to side. Now the next pose that we're going to come into is our dangling pose. So you're just going to come up onto your feet. And then you can choose a variation. You can have your arms just dangling flat. You can grip opposite elbows. Just let the blood flow go to your brain. Maybe here, moment by moment, as you kind of drop deeper into the shape, you feel more and more release. I just feel kind of like the weight of the world sort of rolling off my back. We're going to linger in this waterfall for about 5 more breaths. And then just release that grip and slowly, slowly roll all the way up to stand. Letting your head balance on both shoulders. Just kind of allowing this to be a rebound. And let's move back onto our hands and knees. Nice. So we're going to take one more heart opening pose. So I'm going to give you 2 options. Okay. So the first is just a typical melting heart, which we've done lots of before. And the second option is if you want to have a bit of a shoulder stretch. I think I led you guys through this the other day, and Yin, it might have even been last week. There's a variation of this you can do where you set up your 2 blocks and then bring your elbows onto the blocks and then drop your heart and kind of hold your hands above your head. So this option works as well. This is a bit of a deep shoulder stretch. Awesome. Choosing a pose that works for you with the knowledge that we will be here for 3 minutes. We'll remain in this pose for 1 more minute. And then just slowly make your way out of it. Maybe come up to seated. Just lengthening up through your heart. Taking deep breaths. That was a pretty deep heart opener, so give yourself a little bit of time to process it. And then the last pose that we're gonna take is a waterfall pose. So there's different ways you can do it. You could come straight up to the wall and you could lift your legs up and rest your body. Or you might use a block if you're in the center of the room and you're not near a wall, and you can just elevate your hips on the block. So basically the idea of this pose is to kind of get the blood flow to the heart and to the brain. And we'll rest here in stillness just for another minute or two. And then if you are on a block, just lift off the block. If you're at the wall, just come off of the wall. Make your way back onto your mat, draw your knees in. And we're gonna drop both knees over towards the right and just gaze over the left shoulder and take a little stretch. And then open your right arm and take your knees all the way back through center. And then drop them the other way. Then we'll bring the knees all the way back in, giving our body a nice little hug. And if there's any last little movements or poses, or if you want to come straight back into your shavasana, go ahead. Just kind of letting your whole body be held by this posture, be held in this moment. And know that I'm going to bring you back from this shape when your time is up. Ishkavamapu Lela, 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 Ishkavamapu Lela. Give your fingers and your toes a little wake up wiggle. Running a nice little stretch through the body. And then just make your way up to a seated shape. We're just going to join with our hands at heart center. You are never more whole than you are right now. This moment right now is all that there is. And you could not be more perfect. You could not be more you. Accept this moment and embrace this moment. Trust that you are loved. Trust that you are never, ever alone. Trust that there is no one else like you. Let the love radiate like tidal waves. Let it wash the world around you in its magnificent glow. Just breathe in all the love that the universe has to offer. And then let it go. Let it go. So we close with our intention, and it's that this practice heals not only us as individuals, but our society as a collective and our earth as a collective. May all beings be happy, be healthy, and be free, and may the thoughts and actions of each of our lives contribute towards this. So we'll finish with an Om. We're going to inhale and exhale, and inhale through to make the Om. So take a big breath in. Big breath out. Big breath in. Thank you so much for joining me, for sharing this space and this practice. The light in me, it sees and it honors the light in you. Namaste.